10-pound folder.
Well, Dorchester,
It's like a brick.
there was no shooting. They did?
You didn't have your phone?
No, I saw my dad.
Isaac commented
Oh, we need, we have, what, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. We're good.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Public Property and Parks Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Present.
Present. Counsel LaPierre? Absent. Counsel Calucci?
Present.
Present. Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present. Counsel Field?
Present.
Present.
Okay, thank you. We have a request from Mass Hire North Shore Career Center to use the City Hall foyer on September 14th, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to, looks like, run a mobile career center day. What's the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre? Absent. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Okay, any new business? Council Field.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a motion to take it off the table, the bid for Marshall Middle School.
Okay, motion's been made to take it
Second.
off the table, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also have an order that the City of Lynn hereby rejects and rescinds the bid award of East Boston Community Development Corporation for the purchase of the City of Lynn-owned property at 19 Porter Street, as the EBCDC was unable and/or unwilling to execute a development agreement which incorporated all representation and warranties contained in EBCDC's response to requests for proposals. Ordered further that the EBCDC be declared a non-responsible and non-responsive bidder. Further ordered that the purchasing department shall return the bid deposit, and return of said bid deposit shall not be construed as an acknowledgement that EBCDC did not violate the terms of the request for proposals, and the council order dated September 28, 2021, awarding EBCDC the bid. That's in the form of a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre? Absent. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci? Sorry. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Counsel Field?
Yes.
Okay, any other new business? Wish of the committee?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Terry?
You good? Yeah, I always do, right? You need to check right now?
Okay, we'll call the licensing committee, 5 PM meeting for June 28th to order, please. Roll call, please.
Counsel Field?
Present.
Present Counsel Hogan?
Present.
Present Counsel Lozey?
Present.
Present Counsel Net?
Present.
Present Counsel Alanson?
Present.
Present. We have the following extended hours will be called up one at a time. Do we have 60 Boston Street, McDonald's?
Okay. Thank you. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Your license will be ready
Thank you.
Thursday after 8:30 in the clerk's office.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
65 Boston Street, CVS Pharmacy. You can come up to the podium.
Okay. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to
We
approve.
have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Early.
That motion carries. That license is granted after 8:30 on Thursday in the clerk's office. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
80 Boston Street, Dunkin' Donuts.
What is the wish of the committee?
Yeah. Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That license will be ready Thursday after 8:30 in the clerk's office. Thank you.
108 Boston Street, Burger King.
What is the wish of the committee?
We have motion to approve.
Motion
Second.
approved. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That license will be ready Thursday after 8:30 in the clerk's office.
Okay, thank you very much.
116 Boston Street, Wendy's.
Do we have anybody representing Wendy's at 116 Boston Street? What is the wish of the committee?
I'd like to make a motion to
We have a
table.
motion to table. It's
Second.
non-debatable. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's tabled for 116 Boston Street.
122 Boston Street, Boston Shell.
What is the wish of the committee?
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Your license will be ready Thursday after 8:30 in the clerk's office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
124 Boston Street, Taco Bell.
Do we have anyone here to represent 124 Boston Street, Taco Bell? Seeing none, what is the wish of the committee?
Motion to table.
We have a
Second.
motion to table. We have a second. It's non-debatable. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is tabled for 124 Boston Street.
124 Broad Street, George's Roast Beef.
You here for 124? Okay. What is the wish of the committee? We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Your license will be ready Thursday morning after 8:30 in the clerk's office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
512 Chestnut Street, Lynn Mobile.
Anyone here from 512 Chestnut Street for Lynn Mobile? Seeing none, what is the wish of the committee?
Motion to table.
We have a motion to table. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's non-debatable. That motion for 512 Chestnut Street is tabled.
668 Chestnut Street, Cumberland Farms.
Do we have any representative from 668 Chestnut Street for Cumberland Farms here? Seeing none, what is the wish of the committee?
Make a motion to table.
We have a motion to table.
Second.
Second, non-debatable. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is tabled for 668 Chestnut Street.
15 2/3 Joyce Street, Go Puff.
Go Puff. We have representatives. Do you want to speak? Because I know this is a new business. Okay. State your name and address, please.
Yes, I'm Nate Spinney. I represent GoPuff. I work at 85 Exchange Street here in Lynn. Ashley Moss, who represents GoPuff, is here today. It is a delivery service and a brick-and-mortar convenience store that offers essential services for people. One that's particularly of interest to myself is in the early hours when young kids might need Tylenol and they don't have otherwise means to get that. They can use GoPuff services and it will be delivered right to their door within minutes.
And the brick and mortar, is that open 24 hours?
It is not, typically not open 24 hours. It usually closes around 10 and then it would be a good delivery service at that point.
Thank you.
Is that 7 days a week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be 7 days a week.
Okay, thank you. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That license will be ready on Thursday morning after 8:30 in the clerk's office.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Yeah. We'll circle back after. We'll circle back after. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Hold on one sec. We're at 120, 122 Liberty Street.
120 122 Liberty Street, Speedway.
Is anyone here representing 120, 122 Liberty Street Speedway? Seeing none, what is the wish of the committee?
Motion to table.
We have a motion to table.
Second.
Second, non-debatable. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is tabled for 120, 122 Liberty Street.
I'd like to make a
Council-
motion to take 668 Chestnut Street off the table.
Second.
We'll circle back to that at the end.
Okay, they're
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll circle back to the tables at the end.
Number 3 Linfield Street, 711.
Is anyone here representing 3 Linfield Street? What is the wish of the committee? Council Lozey?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not happy with some complaints I've had with residents nearby the 7-Eleven at night and early morning hours. I'd like to make a motion to restrict the hours for a midnight closing.
Second.
And that'll be 7 days a week, Counselor?
Yes, it is.
So midnight, and what is the start time?
What is it on the application? The start time's okay. I think it's 7 a.m. Is it? 5 a.m. 5 a.m. 5 a.m. to midnight.
Okay. So you're making a motion to deny the extended hours and submitting a
That's
5
correct.
to 12
So it's a motion to deny and
with the stipulation to be open 5 to 12.
yes,
Okay. 5 a.m. to 12 a.m.
And I second that.
And that's 7 days a week.
correct.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That extended hours was denied.
And if I might add, Mr. Chairman, notify any of the companies that do deliveries that they're not to be delivering before, is it 8 a.m. or
7 a.m. 7 a.m.
7 a.m.? Yeah, no more deliveries prior to 7 a.m. Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
364 Linway, Dunkin' Donuts.
What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to
We
approve.
have a motion to approve. We
Second.
have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That license will be ready in the clerk's office after 8:30 on Thursday. Thank you.
377 Linway, Wendy's.
You're representing 377,
I make a motion to approve.
but not 116 Boston Street, correct? Are you? Okay, we'll come back and circle to that. 377 Linway, we have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. The license for 377 Linway will be ready on Thursday morning after 8:30 in the clerk's office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
525 Linway, the Gulf Station.
What is the wish of our committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Your license for 525 Linway will be ready in the clerk's office after 8:30 on Thursday. Thank you.
535 Linway, Linway Shell.
What is the wish of the committee?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries for 535 Linway. That license will be ready after 8:30 in the clerk's office on Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
567 Linway, McDonald's.
What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That license for 567 Linway will be ready in the clerk's office after 8:30 on Thursday. Thank you.
16 Market Square, the Guatemalan Restaurant.
What is the wish of the committee?
Make a motion to
We
approve.
have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries for 16 Market Square. That license will be ready Thursday morning after 8:30 in the clerk's office. Thank you. Gracias.
17 Market Square, People's Choice.
What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. The license for 16 Market Square will be ready on Thursday after 8:30 in the clerk's office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
50 Western Ave, 7-Eleven.
What is the wish of the committee?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Approve. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries for 50 Western Ave. That license will be ready Thursday after 8:30 in the clerk's office.
707 Western Ave, Domino's Pizza.
What is the wish of the committee?
Make a motion. Go ahead.
Motion to approve.
We have two
Second.
motions to approve. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries for 707 Western Ave. That license will be ready Thursday morning in the clerk's office after 8:30.
969 Western Ave, AL Prime Energy.
What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. The license for 969 Western Ave will be ready in the clerk's office Thursday after 8:30. Thank you.
341 Union Street, Domino's Pizza.
What is the wish of the
Motion
committee?
to approve.
Motion to approve. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Council Lozey.
That license for 341 Union Street will be ready in the clerk's office after
Keep the last
8:30
ones.
on Thursday, yeah. So we have 116 Boston Street Wendy's, we have 124 Boston Street Taco Bell, we have 512 Chestnut Street, we have 668 Chestnut Street, and we have 120, 122 Liberty Street. If anyone is representing any of those addresses that I just read, please come and state your name and the address that you're representing. We have a motion from Councilor Lozey to take off the table. Which one?
Second.
Cumberland Farms, 668 Chestnut Street.
668 Chestnut Street.
Correct.
Okay, we'll take that off the table. We have a motion to take it off the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have a motion on the license for extended hours for 668 Chestnut Street? We have a motion approved from Council Lozey, yes?
Yes?
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I'm sorry, what was that address?
668
668,
Yes.
okay.
Chestnut Street, Cumberland Farms, correct? Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That license will be ready on Thursday after 8:30 in the clerk's office.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, can you state your address that you're representing?
122 Liberty Street, Speedway.
Which business? I'm sorry.
Speedway,
Speedway,
132.
yes,
120, 122 Liberty Street?
yes.
Okay. Do we have a motion to take that off the table?
Motion to take it off the
Do we have
table.
a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? That's off the table.
Aye.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
Second? Do we have a
Motion approved.
motion approved by Councilor Hogan? Second by Councilor Calucci. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries for 120, 122 Liberty Street. That license will be ready in the clerk's office after 8:30 on Thursday. Thank you. Sir, what address are you representing?
116 Boston Street, Wendy's.
116 Boston Street, Wendy's. Do we have a motion to take 116 Boston Street off the table?
Motion to take 116 Boston Street,
we have a
Wendy's off the
second?
table.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's off the table. Do we have a motion on 116 Boston Street? We have a motion to approve. Do we have a
Motion to
second?
approve.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. 116 Boston Street, your license will be ready in the clerk's office after 8:30 on Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have anybody representing Taco Bell at 124 Boston Street? Or Lynn Mobile at 512 Chestnut Street? We do not. Okay, so those will stay tabled.
Okay. The next item is, we have a canning date, Westland Little League Adults Only, June 24th, 25, 26, 2022.
Is the wish of the committee?
Already canned.
The dates?
Already canned.
Did I
Weird.
read it right?
Motion approved.
Motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries for those canning dates.
I'll let Westland know.
Any other business?
They're already done.
No other business? Seeing none? What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to
We have a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
All right.
Come on, Simmy. Come on, buddy.
How are you? Yeah, Charlie told me.
What you do? All right.
You want fair and square.
I'm gonna steal one of your.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ways and Means Committee meeting. Madam Clerk, could you please roll call?
Counsel Net?
Present.
Present. Counsel Staben?
Present.
Present. Counsel Barton? Counsel Barton? I know I saw him here.
He was here.
Yeah, I'll put him down. Absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Present. Okay, Madam Clerk, could you
Counsel
please?
Chakutis?
Present.
And Counsel Walsh absent.
Yeah, could you read
We're going to add Counsel Field.
Oh,
Present.
right.
Okay, let me read the APA votes?
Yes, please.
Okay. The APA votes are included in the FY23 budget approved on June 14th, 2022. These will be paid out of APA funding. Mr. Patino will explain each one after I read them. The first one is $1,325,000 for heavy equipment for snow parks and road maintenance.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Bedell, would you like to come to the podium and
Mr. Chair, I
explain
think
to us?
the mayor's
Or
going to speak.
you want us to read the whole thing first?
Okay, new plan. I'm going to read them all.
Let's do it all.
Patino's going to
Okay.
come up. The second one, I'm sorry, you wanted to call for the vote?
Yes, second. Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent. Second one is $1,500,000 for streets and sidewalks.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Third is $1,260,000 for 2 pumpers for the Lynn Fire Department.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. And the final one is $70,000 for health equipment vans.
Motion approved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to invite the mayor come to the podium and explain to us, please.
Thank you, Chair Net. Good evening, everyone. This is an exciting step forward. These are numbers that you have all seen, hopefully, a couple times now. They're in the budget that you approved for capital spending. They're also in the ARPA proposal that we've submitted to you that we will be discussing in depth later on. As we discussed during the budgeting process, we had a tremendous opportunity this year to make really important capital investments in city needs for long-time needs, and we're able to do that because of the ARPA funding. And so as part of the process to draft the budget, we reviewed the requests that departments had and included those that would be typically funded through the capital project. Knowing we had the ARPA funds, we included them in the budget, the ones that were ready to go. And so these 4 are ready to go, and so it's going to be helpful for us to be able to start the procurement process. We all know that supply chain issues have created a lot of challenges with procurement, but these purchases, these investments will really improve the city's ability to deliver high-quality services to our residents. DPW is an area that we need the upgrades in the equipment and the vehicles. Same with the fire department. Improving the city's roads, paving, streets all around the city is a priority I know that we all share. It's feedback we get from constituents all the time, and it's a really important goal. And to build on top of our Chapter 90 programming, we're going to be able to do that with the ARPA funds. I think it's worth noting that there are some restrictions and caps on the amount of ARPA funds that can go directly into roads like this, which is a factor in actually setting the amount. But we think this is the right amount to get started for that repaving, and then the public health van as well. I mean, we all know that public health really stepped up during the pandemic and has changed drastically in sort of our expectations and the role it plays in the community, and this equipment will help them fulfill their mission. So thank you so much for your support for these proposals. I think it's another exciting step towards our goal of making the most of the once-in-a-generation opportunity we have with these ARPA funds. Thank you.
Any question from the council to the mayor? Councilor Field.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to acknowledge the mayor for being here to discuss some of that. I know Councilor President Walsh couldn't be here tonight, but I know every council has gotten, requests and hear it, from the start that you're elected about roads. And like the mayor said, the ARPA does limit on how much we can put towards the roads, but this is a significant step in addition to the Chapter 90 funding from the state to improve roads all across the city. So I just want to acknowledge the mayor for being here and, for where we are listening to everyone in the city as far as what the needs are. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Any other comments? Yes,
While I have you, Mr. Mayor, is there a process of selecting which roads to prioritize?
Yeah, we'll go through the typical DPW process that we use for the Chapter 90 funds, and if there's opportunities, or needs to revisit that because of the increased amount of pace, we will certainly keep everyone posted.
I heard it starts in Ward 2.
yes, Councilor Lawson.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, just curious, have you heard when the Chapter 90 funds for this year will be released?
I have not heard. I know that the budget is still being finalized, but we will keep a close eye on that.
Okay, usually it comes in June, so that's why I asked.
Thank you. I also just want to, thank all of you for the support, and also particularly with Councilor Field for all the work as the ARPA liaison. I think as we've seen, this is a huge transformational investment. It's required multiple steps for us to get there, and we're still right in the middle of it. But it's been really wonderful to partner with Councilor Field in that role, and to work with all of you on this. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good? Yes, please read to transfer.
We have $733,618.27 from free cash for various projects to clear the deficit in account.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes.
Next.
Raise and appropriate $299,125 from the Gannon Enterprise Revolving Fund to the account of the Gannon Expense Debt Service and Repairs to establish the Gannon Enterprise Fund for FY23. This is the first year of the Gannon Enterprise Fund.
Motion approved.
Roll call.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $110,000 from free cash to the Munis Cap account to fund a Munis chart of account project.
Motion approved.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $4 million from free cash to the account of TBD School Ops Stab Fund.
What's the wish committee?
Motion approved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $1,897,580 from health insurance expense to the account of TBD School Ops Stab Fund.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $500,000 from free cash to the amount of TBD OPED Trust Fund.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $14,693 from various accounts to the fund department deficits due to step increases in onboarding.
Motion approved.
Roll call.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $6,801.53 from the city clerk expense to the city clerk payroll to fund shortfalls.
Motion approved.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $285 from the LPD expense to LPD prior year bills for an invoice received after the cleanup warrant.
Motion approved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Could you read certified funds, please?
Yes, we have certified $28,409,220 to the City of Lynn by the federal government for the City of Lynn's second installment of federal ARPA funds.
What is the wish committee?
Motion approved.
Roll call.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Certify $70,000 to the school department for the FC 525 HQ summer grant.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Certify $20,000 to the school department for the FC 644 21st CCLC summer grant.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Certify $300,261.75 for the 2022 FY23 summer youth work jobs.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Do you read the orders, please?
We have an order that pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A and a half, the City of Lynn hereby accepts a gift of a baby grand piano from Mr. John Oldley. Further ordered that the Comptroller's Office is hereby authorized to take any action necessary to effectuate the purpose of said gift.
What is the wish
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton? Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer, any emergency on this? All emergency? Okay,
Motion for emergency.
Second.
roll call, all emergency, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes.
Any new business?
And I don't have any new business.
What's the risk committee?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, you got it.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes, could I ask the Council Hogan, the mayor, and the state delegation to please come up?
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we are here for a very special moment in Lynn history. I've sat up here many times, and only being on the city council for 3 years, I've recognized city champions. We've recognized state champions. We've even recognized the national champion Westland Pup Warner cheerlead team last year. But tonight, we are recognizing a world champion from Lynn, Massachusetts. Now, how does that sound? A world champion from Lynn, Massachusetts. And that's real. Now, Rashida's here. And as I get into a few words about this amazing person, without her being an amazing person, an amazing athlete, to be known as #1 in the world, she has an amazing family. And at this time, her mother and father's here and her family's here. I would like you guys to rise as a family, brothers, sisters, I mean really. 'Cause when Rashida's training and she's sacrificing everything, the real people behind her every single day of her life is her family. And I know, raising a lot of athletes and being a coach in this city, nothing happens without a tremendous family. And I applaud you, the family of Rashida Ellis, tonight also. Now, we know being #1 in the world is pretty special, but we have to get this girl up here. So start walking up here, Rashida. All right? This is Rashida Ellis, guys. Me and Rashida has had many conversations over the last while. Everyone said, Fred, is there going to be another parade? Last time on the City Hall stairs, we made a deal. We're going to do another parade when she wins the Olympic gold medal, which is going to happen, you guys, because she's going back to the Olympics. All right? But we knew tonight that we were going to do something special for Rashida. All right? And at this time, before I say any more about Rashida, I'd like to bring up the state delegation to say a couple words.
Thank you. How do you follow up Councilor Fred Hogan? That was just amazing as always. I'm Brendan Crichton. I'm your state senator. Honored to be here. Served in this chamber with Representative Cahill and Rep. Capano. Rep. Capano could not make it here, but he sends his regards. It's just an honor. It's so great to see you in person again. I feel like our eyes light up every time we see you online. We see you in the newspaper. And obviously we have a very strong history here in Lynn. History of really great athletes. History of first. We're on the map for many different reasons, but you have put us on the map again for this generation, and it inspired so many to follow their dreams, to get up when they're down, to keep fighting, and it's an honor. I'm kind of nervous standing next to you, next to someone so famous. But we have a citation from the State House, the State Senate, as well as the House of Representatives. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate and House hereby extends its congratulations to Rashida Ellis in recognition of being the first American woman in the lightweight class to win gold and being the 2022 IBA Women's World Boxing Champion. And it's signed by all of us. It's an honor to call you a Linner and a friend. Congratulations so much.
And before we bring up the mayor of Lynn, I just want to make sure we give Rashida this plaque on behalf of the Lynn City Council. Congratulations, Rashida Ellis, 2022 World Champion Boxer. Thank you for representing Lynn. We are honored to present this to you from the Lynn City Council. And now, Mr. Mayor Jared Nicholson.
Thank you, Councilor Hogan. Congratulations, Rashida. This is so exciting. It's such an honor to be here to, on behalf of the city of Lynn, congratulate you for your amazing accomplishments. We're so proud. We're so excited. Who we recognize and celebrate says a lot about our values, and this is just a wonderful moment for the city. And we're so proud and so excited that we want to establish and share a permanent recognition of your accomplishments here in the city of Lynn that we're going to display in the city. If you come into Lynn on Western Ave, you are going to know that the city of Lynn has produced a world champion. That is a permanent recognition of your hard work, a permanent recognition of the dream you had, the dream you achieved, the dream that you brought back to the city of Lynn. And one of my favorite parts about this is that it's on Western Ave at the corner of Victory Road. And if anyone knows the road to victory, it is Rashida Ellis. She has traveled that road with courage, with aplomb, with success, and she has shown the way to that road to the generations of Lynners that she's going to continue to inspire with her amazing work on the canvas. Congratulations, Rashida Ellis. We're so proud of you.
Councilors, you guys can come up for a photo, please. And then we'll
Let's swing down here more.
That's okay.
Rashida, his family can come up right front. We'll get another picture. If his family wants to come up right in front of the podium, the whole family can come up. We'll do a photo with her in front of the podium. You can get in front of the podium. You tall enough for that? Huh?
Stand up tall.
Here you guys. Stay following. We're gonna get a picture with the family too.
Michael!
So they can show them how to get in the front.
Paris? Yeah. Yeah.
She put everything.
Yeah,
You guys can
ring cowboy. There you go. A little bit tall.
Tell them to quiet down.
Quiet down.
Dan, you gotta get on the side, Dan. Dan, you gotta get on the side. Oh, hold up, hold up.
Got some more.
Room here.
Smile, girl,
Oh,
smile.
I remember he took pictures of these.
You got the knee bend. Now, as everyone held their breath, we're going to let Rashida say a couple words here.
Worry, worry. I just want to say thank you for all the love and support I have in Lynn. And you're going to see me at 2024 Olympics. Like, this is only the beginning for me. So stay tuned.
Where's that sign at? Where's that sign at? I gotta have a picture with her. Where's Coco? Coco, my photographer. Oh.
Tell him, Coco.
You gotta stay for the rest of the night.
Who falls
Ozzy would gladly hand it over to you.
This sign will be up tomorrow, so you'll see it at Victory Road, Western Ave. All right? I was told to give this back to
Is this where you? Really? Will you seat me with him? He does. He does.
Should have had
Josh, coach.
normal.
That thing is heavy.
Give them time. Huh? Yeah.
Me. You haven't fanned me.
You didn't ask.
would have been here. Got it, yeah.
one here?
Yeah, I like this now.
Present.
Counsel LaPierre absent. Counsel Lozey.
Present.
Present Counsel Net.
Present.
Present Counsel Starbed.
Present.
Present Counsel Walsh absent.
Please rise for a moment of silence.
Mr. President, I'd like to remember the Aylwood and Coughlin families.
To the flag
Of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to, Council President Walsh could not attend this evening's meeting as his wife had pre-scheduled surgery today. Our prayers with Jay and Jill and the rest of the Walsh family. Communications. No communications. Thank you, Terry. No communications, public hearings.
First public hearing is the City of Lynn hereby accepts the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 55C, permitting the creation of the City of Lynn Affordable Housing Trust Fund.
Anybody wish to speak in favor? Anybody wish to speak in favor?
Yes.
the Housing Trust Fund. Mayor Nicholson?
Good evening, Vice President Barton, councilors. Thank you so much for having me. I just want to first thank everyone that was involved in preparing this ordinance. As you know, we have convened a Housing Lynn implementation working group to implement the Housing Lynn plan that this body approved last fall, and we have been working hard to implement those recommendations, a major one of which we are presenting this evening. And I think this is a really significant step towards achieving the ultimate goal that we have, expanded housing opportunities, and provides a vehicle for us to make very important investments that's guided by real community input about how to best help members of our community gain and retain access to this housing that's safe and affordable. So what this does is create a trust fund for money that's specifically dedicated to affordable housing. And it was an important recommendation in the housing production plan. The city, in preparing this, consulted with staff from the Massachusetts Housing Partnership on how to proceed with the housing trust. And the next step after presenting here upon approval would be to submit this ordinance to the Attorney General's office to confirm the setup. So there is a state law on municipal affordable housing trust that establishes guidelines about how cities can do this, establish local housing trusts. And it also sets out specific powers that the trust fund would have, which this ordinance would implement. It's taking the authority that state law authorizes for housing trusts and bestowing that on this body that would be created. The Treasurer Collector's Office would serve as the custodian of the funds, and the account will be subject to an annual audit and standard municipal accounting practices. For the trust to be effective, we believe that it has to have sufficient administrative and technical support from city staff, and this ordinance designates that staff would be provided by LHAND, by the Planning Department, as well as EDIC and the Mayor's Office, so that the board would be supported by city staff. And it would create a 7-person board of trustees that would oversee the housing trust. Appointments would be made by the mayor and subject to council approval. And the ordinance specifically designates that 2 trustees have to be Lynn renters, which we think is important from an equity perspective, seeing that renters sometimes are often underrepresented on boards and commissions, although a majority of our residents are renters. And a representative from the planning department will serve as a trustee, and other 3 would be individuals with professional expertise in relevant areas that this fund would cover. So this has been posted. It has been open to input from the community. I want to make people aware that we have received community feedback asking us to sort of highlight the goal of supporting housing needs at the level at which they're most significant in Lynn, which is below the 60% area median income. As you all know, that's a particular need in Lynn. And so we are supportive of an amendment to recognize that. I don't know that we all got totally on the same page about the specific language, but the goal of that amendment is in response to those concerns and questions. So really appreciate the consideration from this body, and I think it's an important step forward to our shared plans of implementing Housing Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Hearing and seeing none. Anybody wish to speak in opposition? Anybody wish to speak in opposition? Anyone wish to speak in opposition? Hearing and seeing none. That part of the hearing is closed. Councilor Hogan.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the City of Lynn hereby accepts the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 45, 55C, permitting the creation of a City of Lynn Affordable Housing Trust Fund. I'd like to make another motion, a motion to amend Section 2 as follows. To this end, the trust is established to address the goals and objectives of the City of Lynn's housing production plan, as many as may be amended from time to time, and its funds shall be used.
Excuse me, Councilor Hogan. We can only vote on one motion at a time.
Oh, sorry about that. All right. So the first motion is to accept the provisions of the Massachusetts General Laws 4455C, permitting the creation of the City of Lynn Affordable Housing Trust Fund. That's the first motion.
Thank you. Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Council.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I received a text from my constituent, my Ward 3 constituent, Jonathan Feinberg, asking some clarifications if I can invite Attorney Lamana to shed some light. He basically just saying this ordinance says the money should go to affordable housing, but defines affordable as up to 100% AMI. This money really should be restricted to units at or below 60% AMI, which is roughly Lynn's median income now. The ordinance could be made stronger and less susceptible to potential misuse from a future administration that's not in favor of affordable housing. What basically he's just saying is how secure and strong this ordinance that could not be shaken by future administrations.
Well, I think there's 2 points. The first motion that's before you is accepting Chapter 44, Section 55C, which allows you to next consider the ordinance that was before you. Not to spoil the lead, but I believe that Councilor Hogan was making a motion that in many ways addresses your constituents' issues. But in order to even consider the ordinance that's before you, the city must accept 4455C. And then that question may very well still be relevant after Councilor Hogan's, what I heard him beginning to speak as a friendly amendment to the ordinance itself.
Thank you. My apology, Councilor
Oh,
Hogan.
that's okay.
Thank you, Attorney Lamana. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I have no more questions.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alan
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre, absent Counsel Lozey? Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh, absent.
Councilor Hogan.
I'd like to make an motion to amendment Section 2 as follows. To this end, the trust is established to address the goals and objectives of the City of Lynn's Housing Production Plan as may be amended from time to time, and its funds shall be used to implement the objectives including affordable housing that meets the needs of households earning at or above 60% of the area median income or at risk of displacement as defined by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Second.
We're going to vote on this.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask the clerk to read a letter from Council President Welsh.
Letter from Counsel Walsh to the Honorable Mayor Nicholson and Buzzy Barton, the Council Vice President. Dear Mayor Nicholson and Council Vice President Barton, due to an unavoidable conflict, I will be unable to attend the public hearing on the ordinance creating an affordable housing trust in the City of Lynn. As you know, last October, the Lynn City Council approved a housing production plan that had been prepared after more than 1 year of public comment and public input. A key component of the housing production plan was the creation of an affordable housing trust fund, similar to that trust funds created by numerous other municipalities across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, including Cambridge, Chelsea, Malden, Revere, Salem, Swampscott, and Somerville. The ordinance allows the Board of Trustees to negotiate with potential real estate developers financial concessions to promote affordable housing. At the present time, the city lacks the ability to require developers to contribute monies into a separate fund to be used solely for affordable projects in the city. The city recently negotiated a $3 million contribution to the fund by a future developer looking to build a 7-story mixed-use development at 811 Linway. This $3 million contribution cannot be placed into the general fund to be used for any purpose. Rather, the fund will be deposited into a fund controlled by the Board of Trustees who are statutorily entrusted to promote affordable housing projects in the city. I fully support Mayor Nicholson's proposed ordinance, as well as possible amendments to be introduced this evening to ensure the trustees expend these funds to meet the needs of the households earning or at below the 60% of the average median income, as defined by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. I strongly urge the council colleagues to approve the ordinance with any amendments recommended by the mayor to create the strongest affordable housing trust in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Very truly yours, John M. Walsh, Council President.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci. Yes. Yes, Counsel Field.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre absent. Counsel Lozey. Yes. Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbed.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Counselor Hogan.
Yes, I have another motion. A motion to amend Section 3, Number 2B as follows. Section 3, Number 2B, at least 3 residents of the city of Lynn who possess experience in the fields of real estate, affordable housing, tenant organizing, banking, finance, law, agriculture, architectural, social services, or other areas of expertise applicable to advancing the purpose of the goals of this trust.
Second.
Second. Motion made. Second. Any discussion? Counselor, go.
Clarification, Mr. Vice President. That representative should have the background of all those mentioned, or just one or either which?
Absolutely.
Mr. Attorney Lamanna, please.
One of those, and possibly multiple, but it wouldn't be one individual that would have expertise in each of those, but that's what the amendment is
You
trying
answered that.
to seek
Thank
in
you.
as members.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, who's
Counsel
going to
Calucci.
pick these 3 people?
The mayor just said.
Mayor?
Good. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre absent. Counsel Lozey.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbed.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Next public hearing, please.
Do we have another?
Sorry, Mr. Vice President, for the cleanup vote on the underlying ordinance, so you passed 2 amendments to Section 2 and Section 3, so we'd be looking for a vote to pass the underlying ordinance.
Read that?
As advertised.
Do you want me to read it?
No.
I'll
It was
say-
advertised so the public would know.
Okay. Roll call.
Roll call.
Counsel Alanson.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre absent. Counsel Lozey.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbed.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent. We're good. Yep. Oh, no.
Motion carries.
Next public hearing? Next public hearing is a public hearing on the city's annual action plan, including the use of development of housing and urban development appropriations for the Community Development Block Grant, the Home Investment Partnership Grant, and the Emergency Solutions Grant.
Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak in favor? That part of hearing is closed.
I think I have something from, right.
Anybody wishing to speak against? Anybody wishing to speak against? Anybody wishing to speak against? That part of the hearing is closed. What's the wish of the council?
Motion to approve?
What's that? What, 1 second. Clerk has a letter to read.
That one, right? Dear Council President Walsh and Honorable City Council, I write in support of the document which is currently pending before your honorable body, our annual action plan. This plan is required by the federal government for the City of Lynn through my office to receive annual community development block grant funding, home grant funding, and emergency solution grant funding. My office has undertaken a comprehensive process in accordance with the Department of Housing and Urban Development guidelines to prepare the city's fiscal 2023 annual action plan. As required by HUD, the annual action plan provides analysis of the community's needs and priorities relating to housing, community development, economic development, public services, and infrastructure. The plan was prepared with input from Lynn residents, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other stakeholders. Information from community plans and studies were also reviewed to inform the development of this plan. The full extent of the public participation process and relevant plans and studies is provided in the plan. The annual action plan provides a description of the activities that the city will fund with 3 HUD entitlement grants. Community Development Block Grant, $2,214,818. Home Grant, $992,340. And Emergency Solutions Grant, $203,992. I have attached the appropriate FY23 FF2 budgets for each entitlement grant. Thank you for the opportunity to provide input on this plan. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, James M. March, Director.
What's the wish of the council? Motion to approve? Second. Any discussion? Council Staben.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Looking through this, I see a major emphasis on housing, and I know that a lot of CBDG money goes towards parks and improvements and many organizations throughout the city, and I was just wondering if we are seeing a higher percentage of that money now being switched over into housing and away from those other projects that have been funded in the past.
We have someone here from...
Yes. Is there anybody here from Community Development?
All right, I'm Shirley Kelly, Community Development. I'm sorry, Ms. Starbuck, could you repeat the question?
As I was looking through it, I saw a major emphasis on housing.
Okay.
And in years past, it's been, you know, park projects and different projects throughout the city, expenditures to sports organizations and nonprofits and all throughout the city. And I was just wondering if we were shifting a larger percentage of that money away from those things over towards housing.
Yep. So the percentage allocated to housing.
Could you pull the mic down?
Oh, apologies.
Please. Thank you.
So the percentage allocated to, from the Community Development Block Grant, the 20% is for housing. And that percentage has been in place for a number of years. So that, the percentage hasn't changed. Are you looking specifically at the block grant funding directed
just
to
as
housing
going through it
or
with
all
this
of the,
funding
right?
thing tonight,
Okay.
and,
I see.
and I saw housing, and
Yep.
I was wondering if
Yeah.
organizations that relied on CBDG money in the past is...
Right. If there's an impact to that. Certainly if the fund, I know our funding was a little bit less this year than last year, so if the so in terms of percentage of funding, the 20% for housing activities is always the percentage that's in place year over year for the block grant. So if there's less funding, they have a higher percentage, then the net result of that is what you're seeing. The home funding budget that you also have is all housing, and that's the $992,000. So there is a significant amount of funds directed toward housing, but that is really, it's by design. With the home funding, it's for housing. And the 20% of the Community Development Block Grant, that percentage, 20%, it's identified and as part of a memorandum of understanding between the city and the Housing Authority. And so that dictates that 20% every single year.
So even of that 20%, that number is down as well?
So it's always going to be 20% of the total allocation for block grant. But the block grant funding itself this year is a little bit less than it was last year. And so if you look at the total year over year, it's always going to be 20%. So I guess to answer your question about the public service agencies, we haven't allocated more funding to housing than we have public service by way of just making decisions about the allocation. But it's just naturally, because we have that MOU in place, 20% of it automatically goes to housing.
Okay, and then the other money allocated towards different organizations and projects like through the Citizens Advisory Board?
Exactly, that's that portion, I mean, I know you have the budget. That can only be 15% of the total, so it's always going to be less because there's a public service cap, and that's statutory. So it'll always be, so long as that MOU is in place between the city and the Housing Authority, the housing activities will always be more because, simply just because of the percentages. So, does that help? But I think it does, I think looking at all of the budgets, there's a lot.
Yeah, I just, we've been talking housing at a time when the city should really think about a moratorium on housing, given the taxing on our school system, public safety, public works, and all, but another story.
And so, but a lot of this funding too, though, when you look at if you want to look at the project levels, the details, some of the projects are not, they're not all development. Some of it's rehab, some of it's, there's some first-time homebuyer programming. So there is, it's not, I mean, I think by looking at each project by line item, that might help to give a little more color to the number, to understand, like, okay, there's this big number that's going to housing. What does that represent? Is it all new
Right,
construction?
and that's
the
all I
answer is
got
no.
from thumbing through this tonight, there's a lot of paper. in it.
And just, I know, and looking through that, it's onerous. It's about, I think it's
And I just don't
140
wanna
pages.
see the organizations that have counted on it year after year to be hurt, or,
Right.
I know that I've been trying to get funding from one of my pops
Yep.
for a long time,
Yep.
and I certainly don't want to see those type projects suffer too.
Right. Yep. So the public service, like I said, it's always, the cap is always 15%, but I mean, this is a draft, and I think it might be helpful to look at the line items for housing projects, just to kind of see what exactly those dollars represent. Because if it's just one big total, it's probably helpful to see how those dollars are allocated. So we could certainly follow up with that, if that's helpful.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
Councilor Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Ms. Kelly, just to clarify, whether the funding is higher or lower from year to year, the percentages still remain the same. They're consistent, correct?
Exactly. So for the housing, the MOU between the City of Lynn and the Housing Authority is 20% of the CDBG, and then 100% of the home funding,
Same as years past.
as every year passes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
You got it.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre absent, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Next public hearing.
The next public hearing is the repeal of Chapter 75, the Acts of 1994, to designate a port area for the City of Lynn for all purposes.
Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak in favor?
Aaron Clausen, Lynn Principal Planner, just to provide a little background on the resolution or the vote to amend the DPA boundary. This is a next step in implementation of the Municipal Harbor Plan that was adopted in 2019 and then approved by the Secretary of the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs in 2020. The Municipal Harbor Plan essentially lays out the goals and objectives for redevelopment in our harbor area and sets the regulatory framework under Chapter 91, the waterways regulations, which is a state regulation, and how that can be applied to carry out those objectives, is the key piece of that being improving access to the waterfront and increasing the amount of open space and recreational area in our harbor. And one of the key first actions of that plan was to request that the Coastal Zone Management, which is a state agency who oversees the designated port areas for the state, there's 13 of them in the Commonwealth, at least there was, I think there's now 12 designated port areas, which designate areas within harbors that are to be used for marine industrial purposes, and set out a series of regulations that are implemented through Chapter 91 for preserving those particular uses. Our request to Coastal Zone Management was to conduct a boundary review, which is the typical process by which the boundaries are determined. And they look for things like what has been the historic use, the land use for a particular parcel within the DPA or adjacent to the DPA, understanding what the potential future use of that parcel could be for marine industrial purposes. So is there enough landside acreage or area and infrastructure and utilities to support marine industrial uses? Is there enough waterside infrastructure, meaning a channel that's deep enough and wide enough to handle marine industrial uses? They look at those sort of those criteria when they make a decision. So CZM has gone through essentially a 9-month process to review the city's DPA and made a recommendation to remove or change the boundary of the DPA to remove what is in essence the landfill, the municipal landfill that's on the waterfront, as envisioned in the municipal harbor plan to become a public park, a harbor park. That's pretty key for that transformation because public parks and public amenities like that are not allowed in the DPA. They're actually expressly not permitted in the DPA. So this request will change the boundary consistent with that recommendation. That it was determined that first the city council needed to approve and support that recommendation, and then would go to the legislature at the state house where they will make the change. So that's the process and what's being asked of you tonight. Happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? That part of the hearing is closed. Anybody in opposition? Anybody in opposition? Anybody in opposition? That part of the hearing is closed. What's the wish of the council?
Motion approved.
Motion approved. Second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci? Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre absent. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubach?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
No public hearings to be set down.
None.
Committees, public property and parks.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We had a request from Mass Hire, the North Shore Career Center, to use the City Hall foyer on September 14th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for like a mobile job fair. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion, roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre absent. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubach?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Mr. Vice President, we also, we took off the table the discussion at the last meeting regarding the former Marshall School site on Porter Street. And then it was ordered that the City of Lynn hereby rejects and rescinds the bid award of East Boston Community Development Corporation for the purchase of the City of Lynn-owned property at 19 Porter Street, as the EBCDC was unable and/or unwilling to execute a development agreement which incorporated all representations and warranties contained in EBCDC's response to requests for proposals. Ordered further that EBCDC be declared a non-responsible and non-responsive bidder. Further ordered that the purchasing department shall return the bid deposit, and return of said bid deposit shall not be construed as an acknowledgement that EBCDC did not violate the terms of the request for proposals, and the city order dated September 28, 2021, awarding EBCDC the bid. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre absent. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubach?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Any other business?
No.
License. Council Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We have a unanimous vote by our committee. I make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Unanimous vote, committee
Second.
made, seconded. Any discussion? Do we need a roll call on that?
Sure, if you want one. Up to you.
Yeah. Well,
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre? Absent. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubach?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Anything else?
We
No,
have,
no other business.
okay.
Ways and Means.
Mr. Vice President, yes, all voted unanimously by the committee and I make a motion to approve.
Motion made,
Second.
seconded.
Okay, we have the ARPA votes that were included in the FY23 budget approved on June 14, 2022. These were paid out of ARPA funding, but they require a council vote. $1,325,000 for heavy equipment for snow parks and road maintenance, $1,500,000 for streets and sidewalks, $1,260,000 for 2 pumpers for the Lynn Fire Department, $70,000 for health equipment vans. We have the following transfers: $733,618.27 from free cash for various projects to clear the deficit in account. Raise and appropriate $299,125 from the Gannon Enterprise Revolving Fund to the account of the Gannon Expense Debt Service and Repairs to establish a Gannon Enterprise Fund for the FY23. This is the first year of the Gannon Enterprise Fund. $110,000 from free cash to Munis Cap account to fund Munis Chart of Account project. $4 million from free cash to the account of TBD School OP Stab Fund. $1,897,580 from health insurance expense to the account of TBD School Op Stab Fund. $500,000 from free cash to the account of TBD OPED Trust Fund. $14,693 from various accounts to fund department deficits due to step increases and onboarding. $6,801.53 from the city clerk expense to the city clerk payroll to fund shortfalls. $285 from LPD expense to LPD prior year bills for an invoice received after the cleanup warrant. We have the following certified funds: $28,409,220 to the City of Lynn by the federal government for the City of Lynn's second installment of federal ARPA funds. $70,000 to the school department for the FC 525 HQ summer grant. $20,000 to the school department for the FC 64421 CCLC summer grant. Certified $300,261.75 for the 2022 FY23 summer youth work jobs. And finally, we have an order that pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A and a half, the City of Lynn hereby accepts a gift of a baby grand piano from Mr. John Oldier. Further ordered that the Comptroller's Office is hereby authorized to take any actions necessary to effectuate the purpose of said gift. And that's it.
There was a motion made, there was a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci. Yes. Yes, Counsel Field.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lapierre absent. Counsel Lozey.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Was there emergency on that, Council Net?
Yes, Mr. Vice President, we all vote for emergency, all of them. Thank you. I make motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lapierre absent. Counsel Lozey.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Old business. There isn't any.
No business.
New business. Resolution, Council Walsh.
Yes.
Or Council Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. On behalf of President Walsh, who couldn't be here this evening, I have a resolution that the City of Lynn file and accept grants with and from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs for the Parkland Acquisitions and Renovations for Communities Program for improvements to Barry Park. Whereas Barry Park is a treasured community-wide asset, and the improvements of this recreational area are a city priority as evidenced by the most recent open space and recreation plan. And whereas Barry Park is dedicated to park and recreation purposes under Mass General Law, Chapter 45, Section 14, and whereas Barry Park's ultimate restoration, guided in principle by both user and neighborhood requests, and/or the city's open space recreation plan, will greatly enhance the facility by replacing the dilapidated and hazardous existing playground at the north end of the park. Playground surfacing does not comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act and does not offer adequate fall protection. The city would like to remove the existing deteriorated play structures, benches, paths, and playground resurfacing, replace them with new accessible features that highlight universal design. Whereas the overall costs and fiscal budget constraints prevented the city from proceeding forward with the implementation of this project, and whereas the project was viewed as a series of phases to be implemented over time by priority as fiscal resources became available, with intention of securing grant funding when and if available to assist in this effort. And whereas the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs is offering reimbursable grants to cities and towns to support the preservation and restoration of urban parks through the Parkland Acquisitions and Renovations for Communities Grant Program 301 CMR 5. And whereas this phase of the Barry Park Improvements Project will cost a total of $580,000, and the city has allowed $580,000 in funds to secure a park grant award of $400,000 for the design and construction of improvements to Barry Park. Now therefore it be that the mayor be and is hereby authorized to file and accept grants from the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. 2, that the mayor be and hereby authorized to take such actions as are necessary to carry out the terms, purposes, and conditions of this grant to be administered by the Office of Economic and Community Development. And 3, that the resolution shall take effect upon passage. And there's a PowerPoint. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I read that on behalf of our Council President. Make a motion to approve that resolution.
Motion approved, second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci. Yes, Counsel Field.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre absent. Counsel Lozey.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsellor Stabbit.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Mr. Vice President, if I may.
Council Field.
Just after reading that, I just want to quick again acknowledge Council President's efforts on Barry Park for the years that he's been elected as that ward councilor. It just happens to fall on a day that he can't be here, so we certainly support this, and I'm happy that all my colleagues do support the Council President's efforts to recoup this park grant for Barry that he's worked so hard on throughout his career. Thank you.
We have the clerk.
Okay. Dear Councilor Vice President Barton, due to an unavoidable conflict, I will be unable to attend the City Council meeting this evening where the council will consider a resolution authorizing the mayor and the Department of Community Development to seek a grant for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs to support the restoration and improvements to Barry Park. As you know, Barry Park is one of the most overutilized playgrounds in the city of Lynn with a long and storied history. Sadly, due to financial constraints and overuse, Barry Park has fallen into disrepair and is no longer the jewel of West Lynn. The City of Lynn's Open Space and Recreation Plan has long identified Barry Park as a priority rehabilitation project for the youth and citizens of Lynn. I wish to thank the Department of Community Development for their work in securing their grant and strongly support the proposed resolution. I urge my council colleagues to approve the resolutions to authorize His Honor the Mayor to find and accept grant from the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs to restore Barry Park to its original glory. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Very truly yours, John M. Walsh, Council President.
What's the wish of the council?
We already voted.
Second.
Motion approved, second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Council Alanson.
Yes.
Yes, Council Barton.
Yes.
Yes, Council Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes, Council Calucci. Yes, Council Field.
Yes.
Yes, Council Hogan.
Yes.
Yes, Council LaPierre absent. Council Lozey. Yes, Council Net.
Yes.
Yes, Council Stabbit.
Yes.
Yes, Council Walsh absent.
Aaron, would you like to do a PowerPoint presentation?
Thank you, Councilor Martin and members of the City Council. I'm Aaron Clausen, the city planner for the City of Lynn. I also want to introduce Van Du from the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. Van is the senior environmental planner for MAPC and has been working closely with the city for the last year and a half in developing the hazard mitigation plan update. Last time that the City Council approved a mitigation plan was in 2016, and I'll let Van get into the details in just a moment, but just briefly note that this is an important step in the city ensuring that we remain eligible for FEMA grants. One of the requirements is that the city maintain an updated plan every 5 years, and get it approved through MEMA and FEMA to ensure that we have access to like brick grants and others. So thank you for your time, and I'm just going to pass it over to Van to talk through the process and the recommendations that were developed in that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to be here to present and provide a little bit of an update to you about the City of Lynn's hazard mitigation plans. So first, I would like to thank the city staff that made up the hazard mitigation update project team, including Aaron, for their time and input over this last year, and just want to congratulate them on the completion of this project. Next, please. So as Aaron mentioned, this hazard mitigation planning process is required by FEMA in order to keep the city or every community is eligible for grant funding. And so every community is required to do this every 5 years to keep the plan update. So with this 2021 plan update, Lynn will be eligible again for the next 5 years for a variety of FEMA's funding, including BRIC and FMA grants. Please. So the typical natural hazard mitigation plan, as you look at the different conditions that are listed here. And so as you see, these hazards typically are citywide, cover like flooding, winter storms, snow and ice, wind impacts, things that we need to keep in mind in terms of vulnerabilities, strength, and opportunities to further improve. Another thing is climate impacts. This is the latest piece, not strange or new or anything to for the city's planning effort, but this is one of the latest piece as part of the FEMA's guidance for hazard mitigation planning. So here's the typical hazard mitigation plan development steps, starting out with identifying, updating, and mapping all the critical infrastructure and assets for the city, and then going into kind of assessing the risk and vulnerabilities with any new hazards or any natural hazards that need to be prioritized based on the incidents and history of occurrence in the past 5 years or so. And as part of this process also is reviewing the mitigation measures that were included in the previous or the latest plan, which was in 2016. See anything that needs to be carried over or can be carried over to the new plan update, as well as coming up with additional mitigation plans based on any new incoming community needs and priorities in your planning process in the past 5 years. Great. So in the next few slides, just want to show you kind of some of the findings or outcomes from the planning process. What you have here is the updated map of the city of Lynn that include the critical infrastructures. We map the different critical infrastructure and assets, whether it is something that's vital to the communities for the operations in response to and recovery from during an event of disaster or something like that. We also overlaid that with the flood zones in the cities that we know of, as well as kind of other fire risk, brush fire risk that we know in the city, as well as hot spots, places that we know that are urban island heat effect. Next. So this is not a comprehensive list you see here by any means, but just kind of give you a flavor of the different type of critical infrastructure, including the built environments like roadways, bridges, places that we know are prone to flooding or at risk of flooding. And then there are also key community, spots and places such as parks, recreational areas, designated shelters, wastewater treatment plants, things that keep the city in operation, basically. So there are about 250 critical infrastructure and assets that we were able to map for the city. Next, please. And then with that in mind, we also look at the different hazard and climate conditions. What you have here is precipitation changes projected historically as well as projected. And so what we learned is that, and kind of commonly for across the communities in Massachusetts, is that precipitation is projected to be increasing, precipitation volumes, I mean. And what you see here is kind of a expected increase for a 10-year storm, a 24-hour storm that is expected to happen every 10 years. Is a typical model used for stormwater calculations, things like that. The takeaway here is that you see there's an increase in precipitation volumes kind of steadily since 1960. So.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is this something that FEMA recognizes? Because that's what, it mentions that it's NOAA that predicts this, but FEMA actually regulates estimated amount of rainfall in a 24-hour period, the potential impacts. So it doesn't mention FEMA, it's just, I'm not sure I understand this.
Yeah, so FEMA provide guidance in terms of the different hazards we should be looking at. And so precipitation, increase in precipitation or rainfall's volume is what
But
required.
floodplain is determined, for example, a 100-year floodplain would be approximately 7 inches over a 24-hour period. So is that changing, that standard changing, or is this just a predicted or expected rainfall?
This is
criteria?
projected, so that's a modeling calculations, and what I just showed you in terms of that precipitation volumes, that again is a typical model used for stormwater calculations.
So is this modeling going to be used by FEMA?
Yes.
It is? Wow, okay.
That it has been approved based on like what is, our region is looking at.
Hey, why don't we let her finish her presentation, and we'll have questions after that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then in addition is looking at heat as well. What you see here is, again, the map of the city of Lynn. What you see at the area in purple are kind of the areas that are hottest or, have high heat impact. And what to keep in mind here is you kind of see it's condensed in kind of the more development residential as well as commercial area. So just to keep in mind of, places and residents that may not have access to AC during heat waves that, as you know, has become more frequent as well and has intensified as well. And last but not least, given Lynn's as a coastal community, we're also looking at sea level rise. What you see here is a model produced by Woodhull's Institute for Mass DOT, looking at the different scenarios of sea level rise at 1.2 feet, 2.4, as well as 4.2 feet. So that kind of aligning roughly with the scaling of by 2030, the year 2030, the year 2050, and the year 2070. And this, what shows here is the likelihood, the projected likelihood and depth of flooding due to sea level rise. And just something to we keep in mind as we think about mitigation measures to be included in this plan. Next, please. And again, also looking, thinking about the projected sea level rise, thinking about the social as well as the financial impacts on Lynn residents and the city as well in the municipal operations. And of course, with part of the analysis, we also take in considerations the populations. This is aligning with what the state is doing in terms of the municipal vulnerability preparedness program. Thinking about the climate vulnerable populations, the elders, the younger children, pregnant women, etc., as well as kind of those that are in the low and moderate incomes, as financial difficulty can be is a real issues for those that are impacted by climate impact or hazard events and things like that. Next. And of course, part of that is looking at the environmental justice population in Lynn as well. You see here. Next. All right. So the last part and the most important part is coming up with mitigation measures to be included in this plan. That I should emphasize that this plan that I'm presenting here to you today has been approved by both MEMA and FEMA, and so it's just pending the adoption of the council in order for it to become an active plan that is, making sure Lynn's eligible for grant funding going forward. With the mitigation measures that we included in this plan, it's nothing new. We rely a lot on the priority actions that came out of the MVP process, which was a robust community engagement process that happened in 2019. So a lot of the information kind of reflects the community needs and priorities in terms of infrastructure improvements and services to be in place for in order to respond to and recover from hazard events. Next, please. And then just quickly, I'm not going to read every single one of these, and I'm happy to talk more about them too, but just some a list of examples of mitigation measures that we included in this plan update. And just to keep in mind that, some of it, the majorities are focusing on infrastructure improvements, the built environment, as well as some measures that including the need for collaborations with neighboring communities, as well as regional and state agencies to make sure that you're all kind of streamlines and find synergies to move forward with these mitigation measures. And they are organized by the different hazards that have been prioritized or are key for the city of Lynn. That's including flooding, drought, severe storm, nor'easter, extreme heat, and heat waves, as you see here. All right, next. Next, please. So what's the last step for this hazard mitigation plan? Like I said, we receive approval from FEMA after they review the plan. And so what's next is to ask the city council to adopt the plan, approve so that it can be in effect for the next 5 years, which will again set the city in position for FEMA mitigation grants going forward in the next 5 years. Thank you.
Make a motion to adopt the plan.
What's the wish of the council?
Motion to adopt.
Councilor Hogan.
I'd like to make a motion. You got discussion, Wayne? This is what's going on.
Councilor Hogan.
You can make your motion.
Well, you make your motion. We'll get to the discussion after that.
Motion to approve and grant the hazard mitigation plan as presented.
Second.
Motion made, second. Roll. Any discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we didn't get through the whole presentation, but the last page, quick question, develop an area of critical environmental concern, ACEC, is that, that's a term used under wetlands regulations. That's a little confusing. Is that intended to mirror that, or is this just the play on words here?
No, what I suspect, and I believe, and Aaron can help me with this too, is that the natural resources is part of the Wetland Act that's set by the state, and there might be local bylaws as well. But there hasn't been a designated critical area of concern, survey or designated within the city of Lynn. And so that's part of the action, is to make that, to formalize that.
To develop one. So,
If I can jump in briefly,
Yeah.
Councilor. So there has been a recommendation for some time to look at the Saugus River and its watershed and look at that as an area of critical concern and develop a plan, both on the Lynn and Saugus side, to preserve the natural systems that operate in the Saugus River, particularly the wetlands system, which work to kind of protect the city and the surrounding areas during storm surge or sea level rise. So the healthier that the wetland environment is, particularly around the Saugus River, strengthens the city's ability to kind of adapt to climate change and sea level rise. So the recommendation is to look at the Saugus River from that perspective and set up processes through the wetlands regulations and the wetlands ordinance, the state enabling act, to ensure that the wetland systems are operating as they should, to absorb sea level rise. That's what that recommendation is looking for from a hazard mitigation perspective. There are other sort of environmental objectives and benefits that come out of an AC area of critical concern, environmental concern, but from a FEMA hazard mitigation planning perspective, the stronger that system is and healthier it is, the better it is at absorbing storm
Right,
surge.
I understand that. Thank you, Aaron. And what I was more concerned with was not the understanding and definition of a ACEC, but rather how we would go about developing or finding an area. But you're mentioning the Saugus area, watershed area, which we might be a day late and $1 short with a lot of the development that's gone on there. My final question is, a lot of the last time we approved this, I forget how long ago it was, but we came under fire as a council because many more areas in Lynn were included in the floodplains, FEMA floodplains, and folks were suddenly being whacked with thousands of dollars in floodplain insurance. Has there been are we approving more changes that encompass greater areas that we could potentially be hearing from our constituents?
Yeah, so the hazard mitigation plan doesn't affect the floodplain overlay district that you're referring to. So FEMA does promulgate district boundaries for floodplain. It's based on the 100-year flood storm, which I think you mentioned earlier. FEMA does create those maps, and for the city to participate in the flood insurance program, the FEMA flood insurance program, the city must adopt them, and we have in the past. This mitigation plan does not affect that at all.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre absent, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent. And the final
Thank you.
presentation?
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Next presentation, Chris
Gomez.
Gomez.
IT left. Chris, you let IT leave, Chris. Where'd he go?
Need Counsel Starbed. Oh, it's coming up. It's coming up. I think it's coming up now, isn't it?
Excuse me, we have the printout. You wanna take one and read up there?
Sure.
I'll help you out.
Yeah.
You can take mine. You got it?
Yep.
Yeah, but the public could see the slides?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah, we're coming.
Oh, okay.
All right, they got it, got it.
That's the USB.
I'm just trying to find another, maybe it's. Oh, can you put one in there?
There we go. That's good.
You got it. Yeah. And I'm gonna, when I get to the recommendations, I'm gonna just kind of wrap.
Copy it.
You want this?
Sure, that's mine.
Oh, it's yours?
Mine, sir. Thank you. Just trying to be a team player here.
All right, thanks for bearing with us on that technical difficulty. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I am Dr. Caitlin Coyle. I'm a research faculty member at UMass Boston in the Gerontology Institute. And I have been working with the City of Lynn, specifically Chris Gomez at the Department of Elder Affairs for about the last year, a little less than that, working on a community needs assessment that is specifically focused on older residents of Lynn. Want to recognize my colleagues Mary Krebs and Setare Masigaragan for their help with this project. Go ahead. Next, Chris. So it was commissioned, as you all know, that the City of Lynn's Elder Services is a new, embarking on lots of new things, including a new building and new staff. And so we worked to collect information about older residents of Lynn to inform the planning for the needs and interests of Lynn's residents age 60 and older as it relates to elder services. So this final report on which I'm going to summarize this evening is to inform just the Lynn Elder Services, but also Lynn more broadly. I think one important thing to recognize about aging is that it does not only happen at the senior center, it happens in our community and affects lots of public services. So just a summary of what we did over the last 9 months to a year. In addition to a demographic profile that we developed from the American Community Survey, we also conducted a focus group of stakeholders, particularly organizations that work with non-English speaking residents and other vulnerable segments of the city, pulling them together to talk about what they see as the needs of older residents of Lynn. We conducted 7 key informant interviews with sort of decision-making leaders in the city. And the main event was really that we did a resident survey of a random sample of 5,000 residents age 60 and older, to which we received 1,170 responses, making up a 26% response rate, which is really fantastic. I will note that we did translate that survey. It was mailed to each participant in both English and Spanish. We received 62 Spanish surveys back to us. In addition to having a new senior center and new leadership in elder services, another rationale for this project was the fact that Lynn, like many places in the world, is experiencing an aging of its population. So these are 4 projections that we have available to us here in Massachusetts. They all show slightly different scenarios looking out to the year 2030 and even beyond 2035. But the thing they have in common is that they consistently show a growth in the older adult population, which is in line with what we would expect given the nature of human longevity, as well as the baby boom generation in terms of sheer size and number of people aging in the city. Also, I think important to recognize is that older adult population in Lynn is also increasingly diverse when it comes to its racial and ethnic composition. The slide that you see here is the age distribution of foreign-born Lynn residents using the 2020 estimates. And although a majority of foreign-born residents are younger than age 45, we do see that 30% of people who are approaching old age, as well as 13% of people who are already considered older adults in the city are foreign-born, just kind of highlighting the fact that not only is the population aging, but the composition of that group is also changing. Next. This is the first set of results that comes from the survey that I mentioned. One of the questions we asked was how important it is for people to stay in Lynn as they age. And this is broken down. The different colors represent people's levels of importance, and it's also shown by age. What you see is about that most people want to stay in Lynn as they age. About 25%, or a quarter of the residents aged 60 to 69 who responded to the survey said it is only slightly or not at all important to them to stay in Lynn, but by and large, especially in those folks in the 70s and 80s, do want to stay here. Next. This slide is just really kind of a summary of some of the takeaway points of the project, and I'll go into a little bit more detail, but just to sort of summarize, I think one of the first things that we recognized is that the demand for senior center programs and services is expected to escalate in coming years, both with the growth of the population, the diversification of that population, and what we heard from residents on the survey about their interest in participating at the senior center. And so thinking about how Chris and the building and the staff are going to adapt to those things, I think is hopefully a lot of the information in this report will be helpful to them. We asked folks a lot about what kind of programming they want to see expanded upon at the senior center, and really across all age groups, people were looking for physical health programs, sort of mental health / sort of wellness programs, so meditation and yoga and things like that, as well as lifelong learning. And those were really sort of those stood out as being the things that most people really want to see. So they want to sort of better themselves physically, mentally, and intellectually. We did learn that awareness of the Lynn Senior Center is very limited, and some residents are living in isolation. That's not totally surprising given the recent history of the Lynn Senior Center in terms of, and COVID, but that is a place where there can be some work done. Costs of living and availability of downsizing options are perceived as challenging in the city of Lynn. We asked people, what are the things that concern you the most about being able to stay? Cost of living was number one. And downsizing options is a broad way of saying a lot of things, but one thing we did hear about, and I'll touch on it in a minute, is the idea of if there isn't downsizing options, being able to maintain people's existing properties and homes in a way that keeps it safe for them to stay is important. We also heard a lot about caregiving, both caring for aging spouses and parents, but also grandparents raising grandchildren is a frequent occurrence, and people need help with that. Next. This is an age, sort of just showing you the participation of the senior center by age group. Again, so we asked people if they had ever been to the Lynn Senior Center, and only 15% of respondents said yes to that, although that increases with age. So people in their 60s, about 10% said yes, they'd ever been to something by the senior center, and that increases to 30% of people age 80 plus. Of those who do use it, many of them only come once a year. Again, a lot of this was in flux given COVID and the transition to the new center. We did ask people why they don't go, and the number one reason was that they are unaware of activities or programs available, and that was followed by I am not interested as reasons why people don't go. So again, just sort of touching on that awareness piece in terms of the importance of continuing to make people aware of what's happening. Next. This is a busy slide, but I'll just sort of, the takeaway is that transportation and professional services are of high importance. So this was asking people to rank the level of importance of a number of existing services that were could be offered by the senior center, and we saw high rates of interest in transportation, as well as sort of health insurance, counseling, and legal services and things like that. So really on the service side, there's an interest in that. And similarly, this is what I already mentioned, which is that most people rated, when we asked them what they want to do in the future, physical exercise, both indoor and outdoor, as well as general physical health and wellness, so podiatry, blood pressure clinics, things like that, and then educational programming of a wider range. We heard about technology training, we heard about English as a second language courses. People are interested in learning. Next. Other main themes, I mentioned financial security as being an issue. Of the 1,100 survey respondents, 22% of them said that they do not have sufficient resources to meet their basic needs. It was the number one concern that people reported in the open-ended questions. A quarter of people need home repairs but cannot afford to make those repairs. And 22% of the seniors who responded to our survey worried about running out of food before they had money to buy more. And this is a quote from one of the residents that they wrote in. So this is obviously hugely important for folks who are living on a fixed income in a time when things continue to rise in cost. Safety and inclusion, 42% of the folks who responded to our survey said they do not know who to contact in Lynn if they or a member of their family should need help. 33% live alone, and 19% said they do not know someone living nearby who could help. The caregiving piece, we were very specific to this question in terms of keeping it open. So we weren't just asking, do you provide care to someone who's sick or frail, but do you provide care to someone in your family, essentially? And over half of respondents in their 60s had recently provided that care. And when we asked them how hard it was, 69% said it was very or somewhat challenging for them to meet their daily responsibilities and provide that care. And about 8% of the respondents also reported living with somebody under the age of 18, sort of highlighting the issue of sort of the multi-generational care that's happening in the city and the implications of that for residents. So I have a number of recommendations. I'm not going to go through them in their entirety, but I'll just sort of, the idea here was to provide recommendations to Chris as far as things that he at Elder Services can do, but also ways that he can participate in a lot of the conversations that were heard about tonight in terms of housing and food and things like that. So I'm thinking about the ability to grow the sort of clinical or social work capacity at the center to respond to some of these more complex needs around food and economic security and mental health. And that would also allow for student social workers, perhaps from area universities, to intern at the center to address some of those needs. The food, I know, the food programs, thinking about community dinners or hosting, I know they already do a regular lunch, but trying to figure out ways to support people's in food security. We did hear about trying to attract programs to attract men at the senior center, and those of different cultures, and some of the examples that residents wrote in about. The physical and mental health, really just trying to think about how the different programs and services that the Elder Services can continue to grow to meet the needs that were identified in this project. So I'll stop there, and thank you for your time and your patience with the technology. And if anyone has any questions, happy to answer them.
Anybody have any questions? Councilor Coco.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Caitlin, thank you so much for your presentation. Needs assessments are very important for any projects, cities, and organizations. I have a few questions, but I want you to answer them one time and just want you to listen carefully. So Lynn is getting older. That's a serious messaging there. Because as you know, if there's fewer population, younger population, it tends to slow down progress. It's a fact. It's a fact. In your pie, 45% is between 45 to 80 years old. Well, the younger population is estimate 55%, but you only capture 45 years old under. Do you have any in your data there that highlights baby boom or how many kids usually are born in the city of Lynn so that we could compare that with our senior aging? So that's number one. Okay. Number two would be in your slide where you talk about 41% of, when you talk about only 15% of the respondents are aware of our Lynn Senior Services, and basically 44% are aware of our Lynn Senior Center. Now, this question goes to Chris as well. Do you have any engagement or any plans on how to reach out to that half of those respondents, which is very important? They took time to take this survey, but they're not aware of what's happening with our Lynn Senior Center. So if you can talk more about that and go from there. Thank you so much.
Yes, no, thank you for the questions. To the first question, I'll respond, which is, do we have the granularity of the under 45 age brackets to look at the growth in those populations? And the answer is we do. We don't have things like we could probably get birth rates and things like that, but we can look at the age group. And I think as far as Lynn getting older, it's perhaps better to say that the older adult population in Lynn is growing, as are many other age groups as well, but older adults as far as a share of the community. So for example, in currently about 18% of your whole city is age 60 or older, and projections out to 2035 look like that's more like 21%. So about 1 in 5 residents would be age 60 and older, which by definition is an older adult in here in America. Thank you.
Thank you. Good.
So as far as outreach goes, not having a senior center for a couple of years kind of hurt it. That's what Caitlin was alluding to. So, you know, we put everything on social media. And for seniors that aren't active on social media, we have a newsletter going back out. It starts in October. So we'll be mailing those letters monthly to all the seniors on our mailing list, which should help us get to the seniors that we can't really reach. And now we have an outreach worker as well. So we're starting programming with all the senior housing. We're going to start a bus route to pick up all the seniors and bring them to the senior center. So that bus route should be up and coming really soon. The driver started this week, so hopefully by next week we'll already start to pick up some more seniors at the senior housing and wherever they may be. It's not limited just to senior housing. We'll go to their house, wherever it be within the city, and pick them up as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris.
Any other questions or comments? Councilor Chakoudas.
I have one question. There was one thing on here, considering the hiring of a licensed social worker. I know you discussed that before. I know Michelle's here. Have we discussed it with Mike Patino, the mayor's office, to look to put that in your budget? Because I know that's something you guys were saying, that you guys need that down there. So it's something you really need to consider and talk to the mayor's office or whoever to see if we can get that in there.
Yeah, most definitely. We're doing some of that work, just us in the meanwhile, but we definitely need a licensed social worker.
Yeah, I put in because it's really nice to have those interns, which, you know, just sort of, if you have to have a license in order to supervise the social work students, but that can just be a nice way to grow capacity in a small way.
Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. What's the wish of the council? Councilor Carlucci.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
'22, '25.
All right, is there a motion to return to regular session?
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Magnolia?
Yes.
Member Pena?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson?
Yes. We had a vote to approve the executive session minutes from the June 2nd, 2022 and June 9th, 2022 school committee meetings. the will of the committee?
So moved.
Still move. Second.
Roll call.
Member Castellanos?
Yes.
Member Capola?
Yes.
Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Magnolia?
Yes.
Member Pena?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson?
Yes. We had a vote to approve the contract with